Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited. It is Monday, May 22nd, and tonight was Monday Night Raw. And that's all I can really say. I mean, I can't say it was a good show, because it wasn't a good show. Honestly, I thought it couldn't get worse than last week's Monday Night Raw, and then it did. Because this week's show, oh my God, was this week's show horrible. Well, let's see who's here with us in the chat right now. We've got Ted Sancha. I'm going to call you Sav. Yvonne Sav. I'm going to call you Sav. Andre Suicida. Robert Cathy. Broken Trey Boyd. Mr. Awesome 21. Jaden Harvey. Broken Trey. Supreme Bree 3345. You guys are already talking about Enzo. Enzo got beat up. And did I miss it, or did they never tell us what happened? They did the whole thing where there's a referee in cast, and he's running through the hall. I mean, we'll talk. I'm going to talk about this now because it's really quick. So he's running down the hall, and he's like, what's going on? Where's Enzo? Enzo. And you see Enzo just laying there, motionless, almost not breathing. And he's like, what happened? And Cass is just screaming, what happened? And the referee's like, don't touch him. We don't know what happened. This. And yeah, so unless I missed something, they didn't even say what happened to Enzo and who attacked him. I assumed it was like Titus or Apollo Crews based off of last week, but then they just did their thing with Kalisto. So was it not Apollo or Titus? I honestly don't know. Some of you are saying Tommaso Ciampa. Hey, maybe. He's crazy. Let's see. We've got Rise D, Daniel Hernandez. Brian Mathis is here. Adam Fried. All right, before we get going, got to get the shameless plugs in. If you do want to help out Pro Wrestling Unlimited, you can do so by heading over to gawkbox.com/PW Unlimited. All you got to do is interact with their website, either watch a 15 or 30-second video clip, download an app, interact with the app, and then they tip us. Doesn't cost you anything, and it's best done on a mobile device or a tablet. Also, if you want to donate to the channel, help us out here, you can go to our GoFundMe, which is gofundme.com/helpupgradepwu. You can also go to our Streamlabs page. The link for that is in the description below, as well as if you're here live, you can hit that super chat button. And finally, our TeePublic store. If you want to get any of our t-shirts or any of our designs on stickers, phone cases, coffee mugs, you can do so there. Again, the link is in the description below. We do have our I'm a Jinder Mahal guy shirt, which is going good right now as Jinder Mahal is the new WWE champion. So if you want to support the new WWE champion, go out there and get yourself an I'm a Jinder Mahal guy shirt. Again, the link for the TeePublic store, our merch store, is in the description below. And as always, if you want to call in today on this live stream, a phone number on your screen, 559-475-8473. Robert Cathy says, boo-hoo, Enzo got beat up. Sucks for him. Good for us. Bullet Club vs. Shield says, the Revival could be, as I think they're supposed to be coming back pretty... Excuse me. I think they're supposed to be coming back pretty soon. DeAndre Duke, spoiler alert, Big Cass attacked Enzo. I've heard a lot of fans on Twitter, I read that a lot of fans on Twitter were saying that, it was Big Cass, but we don't know. Ted Sanchez says, what are your thoughts on the Golden Age coming back? Oh, you're talking about Goldust? I like heel Goldust. I think heel Goldust can be something good. We got Scott Frame here as well. What's going on? Lennox Pie. We got a phone call. Let's take this call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tim. I'm back from last night.
How's it going?
I just got done watching Raw, and, man, I thought last week was bad. This time, I cringed while watching it. That's how bad I thought it was.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
On that Enzo thing, many of us are thinking it's like Big Cass because they've been reportedly saying that they want to turn Cass heel on Enzo and maybe push him as like a big guy, like they're pushing Corbin.
Yeah, I've heard those rumors. I haven't heard anything like significant as far as them being confirmed or from a credible source. It's mainly just fan speculation right now.
Yeah. That main event did not make sense.
I mean,
because
go
with
for
the
it.
way that with the way Bray Wyatt and Samoa Joe were attacking each other last week, and then this match they didn't even touch each other at all.
Right.
It just didn't make sense. And then you have Roman Reigns and Rollins attacking each other, which really didn't make sense. I mean, they had that feud last year, and that was it there. But I mean, they could go with something like that, or I don't know. It was
they did announce that next week we will get Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. So
yeah.
And then we'll do the triple threat with Balor, Joe, and Bray Wyatt. So we are getting that. I know what you're saying about how Bray Wyatt hit the Sister Abigail on Samoa Joe last week, and then it was like it never happened. Joe wasn't even mad about it or whatever. Yeah, that didn't make sense. But as far as, you need two baby faces versus two heels, it's the only way they could have gone.
Yeah. Well, they could have maybe gotten Miz to be in the tag match. I mean, he is a heel. He had nothing to do that night.
Yes, but the whole thing is to build up the Fatal 5-Way, and you're not going to throw a random guy in there. Yes, I know Finn just took on Carl Anderson randomly, but the main event was all supposed to build up that Fatal 5-Way with those four guys, and then announce next week's two main events.
Yeah. Is Extreme Rules this Sunday or the next Sunday?
It's a week from Sunday, so it's 2 weeks from yesterday.
All right, thanks. What was your take on that Elias Sampson match? Because that was just thrown together. I thought he had an okay match with Ambrose, but then the ending where Miz interfered, it kind of made sense, but it didn't.
Right. I thought the match was all right. I mean, it's no better than any other Elias Sampson match we've seen in NXT. His matches are just, they're there. They're about average for the most part. He did work with Dean Ambrose, which is a positive because Ambrose is most of the time good. But it made sense with the whole disqualification finish because that builds on to the stipulation at Extreme Rules where the title can change on a disqualification. So that the finish did make sense. But for them to randomly use Elias Sampson in that, especially since it was his first match on Raw, I didn't like that. Because now it's just like, Elias Sampson's this random guy that you can just use on a whim for whatever. But no, they should have put him against somebody like maybe a Kurt Hawkins that he can actually go out there and beat. And I don't know if they want to do anything significant with him, but they should have some sort of plan if they wanted him on the main roster this early.
Right. Well, he was in NXT for a while, and then Cassius Ohno came back and just destroyed him in their NXT League match.
Right. As I mean, he wasn't even in NXT really that long, to be honest, like on television, maybe a year. And he wasn't putting any major feuds, any major storylines, and then he just randomly had that loser leaves town match with Ohno, like you said.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question about NXT real quick? Because
Sure.
I had some. All right. Today with Tommy had that conversation with Cassius Ohno in the back.
Right.
Was that a heel turn, or was that just pure anger that they booked?
It could go either way. It depends on what the actual plan is. It could be that he was just mad and he just let it all out. But at the same time, it could be a heel turn. And it could be the fact of they need to try something different with him. He was a babyface the last two runs he had. And the fans, they were behind him a little leading up to the match at TakeOver. But I can see that it's going to be a heel turn, I think. I could be wrong, but I think it could be a heel turn.
Yeah, I thought he was in that little segment that we saw, I thought it was a good heel move with the anger on his face. But I don't get just out of nowhere, he's a heel against Cassius Ohno, just like that.
Well, it could just be the fact of that. It makes sense with the whole, he's been in NXT since, 2014? He keeps getting hurt. Every time he slightly tries to get an opportunity, it doesn't work out for him. Like he won a tournament to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, WrestleMania 31. Then nothing happened with that. Then he got hurt. Then he came back last year. He was going to feud with Austin Aries, got hurt again. Then he comes back this year, gets the title match against Bobby Roode and gets beat. So it could be the whole thing of he's like, I tried to be nice. I tried to be that good guy, and I just kept getting everything going wrong. I'm not going to be nice anymore, and I'm going to take my next opportunity my way. It could be something like that.
Yeah. Do you think at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn they're just automatically just going to slap the title on McIntyre and push Rude to, like, the main roster?
I think they can do it. I haven't heard what the plan is. I mean, we'll get a good indication this week as they're supposed to be doing TV tapings Wednesday or Thursday. So that should start the build towards McIntyre versus Bobby Roode. But as far as if they're going to take the title off Roode, I don't know if they want to right now because they're very, very happy with Bobby Roode as NXT champion. And they can do something where, Bobby Roode wins, and then they have some sort of number one contenders match or number one contender tournament or something where McIntyre gets another shot and then he can win it then and drag it out.
What doesn't make sense is lately with NXT, they've only been having, like, the takeovers on, like, the SmackDown pay-per-views. Like, we saw last weekend, we saw the Backlash pay-per-view, and we saw TakeOver. So, what do you think they're going to do after Brooklyn? Do you think they're going to do, like, the next pay-per-view, which I don't know what is after SummerSlam?
Well, usually takeovers are, let's see, we had TakeOver Mania weekend, so that would have been April, May. Well, yeah, it was really... So they do a TakeOver probably every 2 to 3 months typically. So I don't think it's going to be 1 month right after, because if you think about it, the next TakeOver is not for 3 months.
Yeah.
So they can do another wait 2-3 months and then go on from there. I don't know what the plan is after Brooklyn. I haven't heard anything announced yet. So,
do you think by having Ambrose win the title back in December, the IC title, it took a lot of prestige off of it? Because he really hasn't defended it at all since winning it.
Well, he defended it at WrestleMania in the pre-show.
Yeah, I think
he defended it last week on Raw against The Miz. He's defended it here and there, but yeah, it's really since he got the title, I feel like it's been an afterthought. And they really did focus more on the title last year when they were doing the whole Dolph Ziggler-Miz feud for it, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you think that if he holds on to that title for a while, it could turn into what his U.S. title became of, which was like defending it every 2 and 3 months because he had that feud with Evolution, and then he had the Wyatt feud.
Right. I can see that. It just depends on, what's the plan. Last I heard, Miz is supposed to win at Extreme Rules. That could change. But last I did hear was Miz is supposed to get the title at Extreme Rules.
And then possibly drop it to Reigns whenever Reigns feels
Well, I don't know if he's going to drop it to Reigns, but Reigns may be the next contender.
Yeah. Who do you think attacked Enzo? Because most people think Cass because of what they've been hearing. And
Right. I honestly don't know. I thought, like I said earlier, it would have been Apollo Crews or Titus O'Neil because based off of last week, maybe it could be the Revival.
That could be it.
Because they're supposed to be coming back within the next couple of weeks. And since
do you have any updates?
And one thing that really makes me think Revival is that they didn't do anything other than show us he got attacked. We didn't find out who it was, and with Revival not being back yet, that was a good way to, I guess you could say, a good way to do it as far as, well, we don't know who attacked him. They couldn't really say it was Revival since they weren't there, but they can hint and lead up to it over the next week or two.
Yeah, people are saying it's Ciampa. I don't believe that at all.
No. That's just a joke because of what happened on Saturday. It ain't going to be Ciampa.
Yeah.
Ciampa's going to go into a long feud with Gargano in NXT.
Which I think is going to be phenomenal just because of the match, the Cruiserweight Classic.
For sure. But I got to say, thank you for the call tonight. It was great talking with you, and have a great night.
All right, you too.
All right, lines are going crazy. Let's take this call right here. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Good, and you?
Pretty good. What's up?
To be honest, about Enzo, I'm thinking in the future, like when they break up Enzo and Cass, they're gonna play like the Hardy Boys when that happened. I think it was Cass. You know how they did with Jeff Hardy and Matt
Right,
and
what they had
everything.
like with the pyro and Matt's and Jeff's face and Matt. Yeah, I get what you're saying in the
Yeah.
car accident and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking about Enzo.
Maybe,
I think
but like-
Cass did it.
Maybe, but like I also said, it could be the revival, and that's why they didn't do anything more than show him get attacked because the revival wasn't there, so they couldn't really pay anything off yet.
Yeah. And talking about the Hardys, I was surprised they picked a steel cage match instead of a ladder match.
Well, I assumed they wouldn't pick a ladder match because they just did a ladder match at WrestleMania. But the steel cage match did come out of left field for me. I wasn't expecting that. I thought maybe like a tables match or some just random, regular Extreme Rules hardcore match. But yeah, a steel cage match with those 4 guys could be pretty good.
Yeah. And about damn, I had that question on top of my head and I forgot about it. do you oh yeah, there it goes. Were they teasing a Brock Lesnar and Finn Balor match or something?
I really think Finn Balor's going to win this Fatal 5-Way. I mean, why else would they be teasing it so big that Paul Heyman came out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was thinking they were probably teasing both things, the Brock Lesnar match and the Balor Club.
Maybe, but I mean, they didn't really do too much as far as it was just a match. They didn't show any hesitation. Like I thought maybe they'd go in there and at first they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we're friends, we don't want to fight each other." And then since Anderson's the heel, he takes hits like a shot or something on. Like I thought maybe they'd go in there and Anderson would try to do like the 2-Sweet or something. Like, we're friends, let's just have a friendly competition. And then as they go for the 2-Sweet, maybe hit him like in the gut or maybe try to go for a low blow or something, heelish. But they just had a match. Like there was nothing there really. It was just a match.
Yeah, because I was surprised when they came back from commercial, they were already fighting and everything.
Right.
And the other question was, what do you think Mike Bennett would come in as, babyface or heel?
That's a good question, and I think it may all depend on how they want Maria. Because if they want Maria for Total Divas, I think they would have to come in as baby faces, at least at first. Now, I know you have the whole thing with Maurice and Miz and their heels, so maybe they can do that. But Maria was never a heel in WWE. And you know she's going to get a good ovation when she finally does debut. So I think at first they might be baby faces, and then they can always turn them down the road.
Yeah. But is Mike Bennett good as a baby face?
I honestly don't know, because I've seen him in ROH in the Kingdom, and he was a heel. And I've seen him in TNA as the Miracle Mike Bennett, and he was a heel then. So I've really not seen any babyface Mike Bennett stuff, but he's so good, I think he can pull it off. Like, he's way better than people are expecting him to be. And that's just because most people don't, like most normal WWE fans don't watch Ring of Honor, don't watch New Japan, don't watch TNA. So they've maybe seen like 1 or 2 matches here and there on the internet and was like, oh, that's that same guy that they've been talking about who's married to Maria.
Is he even going to keep his name, or you don't know about that?
He should be keeping his name. I mean, let me see something really fast. Well, yeah, I think I know Maria, her name, that's her real name, so she doesn't have to change that. But I believe it's his real name. Let me see. Mike Bennett and Maria. Doesn't want to load here for me. Oh, here we go. His real name. Come on. Yeah, it's his real name, so he wouldn't have to change it unless WWE feels like they need to. But he wouldn't have to change it as far as, like, say, like Ring of Honor or not Ring of Honor, but TNA had, like, a trademark or something that they put on it when he was there. So, yeah, he doesn't have to change his name since it's his real name.
So you think he might keep the Miracle, too, or no?
I don't see why not. It works. If he plays that same character where he's like, I'm so great, better than everybody, it's your pleasure to see me, like he's done in TNA and stuff, then the Miracle name works perfectly for that. If he does the same similar type of gimmick.
Talking about TNA, what do you think really is going on with TNA and WWE?
Honestly, I don't know. Like I said before, last I heard was that WWE and TNA had been talking, and that there was some sort of deal where TNA had to make sure they had all the paperwork and all the trademark stuff in a row lined up for the broken gimmick. Once they had everything done, then they can transfer it to WWE. But with Ed Nordholm, the guy pretty much in charge of TNA, saying that they're not talking with WWE, that's just weird because of everything else we've been hearing. So honestly, I don't know what to believe right now anymore. Honestly, I'm just going to sit and wait, and if it comes to WWE, the gimmick comes to WWE. If it doesn't come to WWE, then it doesn't. But there's so many contradicting stories from both sides right now that you don't know what to actually believe.
Yeah. Well, that's everything I got for tonight.
All right. Thanks for the call. Have a great night.
You too.
All right. Let's check the chat before we take another call here. Like I said, the lines are going nuts right now on a night where Raw was horrible. Let's see. Robert Cathy says the kid is good. They get their own wrestling channel. Tim, you might have some competition. Who are you talking about as far as... I guess I didn't go far enough in the chat. I'm giving up on Matt being broken. It happens. Exactly what I just said. Let's see. Impact Entertainment says Raw sucked again. Robert Cathy says Mickey James is in WWE because ... That kid calls. I put my phone down. The kid knows their stuff. No need for me to call. Nice one. All right, let's see. I saw the Revival during the Sasha interview. You can barely see them, but I saw them. Oh, they were there. Okay, I did not see that. Let me see something then. I know that Dash Wilder hasn't been cleared yet to get back in, like to actually be back on the road as far as wrestling. I know he's been doing light stuff at the Performance Center. Let me see something. Sasha. Do some digging here on live. Brandon Skinner says, what do you think about Jinder being WWE champion? I like it. It's something different. It's a good one thing that I really like about it. It's got the people talking. When's the last time people were talking this much about something that happened on a SmackDown pay-per-view or a Raw pay-per-view? Like literally it's usually what we're talking about is how bad the show is, but they're actually talking about this Jinder thing. They've actually got, people interested because they want to see A, does he succeed, or B, does he fail? And if he succeeds, how high can he go? If he fails, how crappy is he really? So it's like you've got people on either side. Some people want to watch this Jinder experiment because they want to see him fail. Some want to watch because they want to see if he can succeed with it. So, in all honesty, I think it's been good over this last 24 hours because, like I said, it's got people talking, and that's what they need. They need people talking. Let's see. Broken Trey Boyd says Rusev for Money in the Bank. That would not be a bad idea. I've also heard Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn, but I really think Rusev comes back and says, I want a title match. And Shane goes, you didn't earn a title match. So how about I put you in Money in the Bank? And then maybe Rusev wins it. I think heel Money in the Bank briefcase carriers, I think that's a good... I like it. I like when heels have the Money in the Bank. Adam Fried says, what WWE needs is 205 Live. In 205 Live is King Ricochet and Will Ospreay. Well, Will Ospreay still has about a year left on his New Japan contract. I don't know about Ricochet. I know he's locked in with Lucha Underground still. But Will Ospreay cut a promo the other night pretty much saying that he's not going anywhere. He's not leaving New Japan. He's happy where he's at. He loves wrestling for that company. He also wrestles with Ring of Honor as well. So, as of right now, he can't go anywhere, like I said, for at least another year. But he has no intentions of leaving Japan just yet. Enterprise says Tyson Kidd as well. They ain't going to clear Tyson Kidd. That's not going to happen at all. But let's take this phone call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hi. I love the show Raw, and I like the part where Paul Heyman came out and talked to Finn Balor and stuff. And he gave out to me. I think he's trying to. I don't know why he's being nice to Finn, and he called everybody else in the in the fatal 5.
Right.
Losers and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know why he's being nice just to Finn and said that Brock Lesnar is Finn Balor's,
No, I get what you're saying. And I think maybe it's a thing of, Finn's the smallest guy in the match. So who would, when looking at it on paper, who would be the easiest guy for Brock to just go in there and steamroll? Finn Balor, if you look at it size-wise.
Yeah, and
so
my
maybe
also
that's
thought
a thing.
my also thought is maybe he's also being nice, thinking he might want another partner in his little.
Okay,
another
Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah, because there was rumors going around that he might have wanted another one. Because long time ago he used to have 2.
Right. When he had Curtis Axel.
Yeah, and CM Punk too.
Yeah.
So yeah, because he even shook Finn Balor's hand, and
right.
all the other people that he used to talk to used to down talk to this guy, the rest of them, but he was nice. So it got me thinking, why is he being so nice to Finn, and then calling the other team losers?
Right. I honestly think it's something, like I said, the size thing. If you look at it by size, look at it on paper, who would you just size-wise think, oh, Brock's going to go in there and smash really fast, have a 5-minute match, suplex them all over, and then walk out champ? I mean, he's not going to do that with Joe. He's not going to do that with Roman. Bray Wyatt, probably not. And Seth Rollins, we've seen him versus Seth Rollins before, not one-on-one, but we know what Seth can do against Brock Lesnar. So when you look at it that way, it could be Paul's trying to put confidence on Bray Wyatt and try to say, you know what? We believe in you. Brock and I think you can win, and then face Brock. And they're thinking, if we get this guy's confidence so high that he believes that he can win even more than he already does, and then he does win, it's an easy payday for Brock.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
It's just a way, who would you think? Like I said, Brock probably thinks, storyline-wise, he'd be the easiest one to go up against.
Yeah. So that's all I wanted to say.
All right. Thanks for the call. Have a great night.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So, yeah, with the whole Paul Heyman, Finn Balor thing, that's what I took from it. Maybe it's a fact of, who does Brock and Paul think would be easiest for Brock to just go in there, smash real fast, and then walk out champ still? The smallest guy in the match, Finn Balor. Robert Cathy says Finn versus Brock isn't really going to be good. I think it can be a good match if done correctly. If you play up the fact that Brock's super strong and Brock's got the speed, but because Finn is smaller, he's a little faster. Finn can fly. Finn can, do all these things that Brock can't. I think that you can have that good dynamic. Finn has risen. 543 says Tyson Kidd Hall of Fame 2018. Broken T Hall says Sin Cara and Kalisto need to join the Cruiserweight division on 205 Live and challenge for the Cruiserweight Championship. I really thought they were going to bring Kalisto into the Cruiserweight division since they put him on Raw, but because it was weird. They did a whole thing where they said, oh, Sin Cara's signed to the Cruiserweight division. He's in the Cruiserweight division, and then he never did anything with it. So I don't know what they're doing with that. They're just using Kalisto as a regular guy. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hello, Tim.
Hello?
Hello, how are you, Tim?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine, dude.
What'd you think of Raw tonight?
Yeah, I saw in Raw that Matt Hardy defeated Sheamus in a winner's stipulation for the Extreme Rules match. Yeah.
Right.
But so in Extreme Rules, they're gonna fight in a steel cage match.
Yes, tag titles on the line in a steel cage.
Hardy Boys.
Right, Hardy's versus Cesaro and Sheamus.
Yeah, Hardy Boys versus Sheamus. Yes. So what is the prediction for it?
Honestly, I think the Hardys will probably come out victorious.
Hardy was winning on that match.
That's what I think.
This is a free call from What's Call. Enjoy your day. Goodbye.
Okay. I guess he was calling from some sort of prepaid thing, but let's take this other call instead. All right, caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hello. I was wondering, because I called last night about the cruiserweights.
Right.
You know, going into the upper division, heavyweight. How would you book the cruiserweights just fighting just regular heavyweights?
Well, to be honest, it all depends on which cruiserweights would they want to push that way. I mean, you've got Austin Aries, who we know can fight anybody as he did in NXT. You've got Neville, who can fight anybody as he's done in NXT and on the main roster. But then you look at everybody else in the Cruiserweight Classic. I mean, Cedric Alexander, he's somebody that can have great matches with anybody. Rich Swann, maybe, can go out there and be, someone that they can take serious against non-cruiserweight guys. And in all honesty, maybe they put some of them on SmackDown and have some good matches with Sami Zayn.
But, I would think that this, if they did this would, be used more for the people that are already on, in the heavyweight division they're not, so much heavyweights like Finn Balor, could come down there, maybe little down the road, maybe Finn Balor is a heel and it's with the club, and so maybe you want to put 2 championships on him. You put the Intercontinental and the Cruiserweight, have a heel that has multiple championships. Not saying the Cruiserweight championship has to be a title that doesn't really matter, but you could use it for something like that.
No, I get what you're saying, but the whole thing is with splitting them up, cruiserweights only wrestle cruiserweights and non-cruiserweights only wrestle non-cruiserweights. I don't think it would really work having guys go back and forth, because once you're in the cruiserweight division, people don't care about you anymore no matter who you are. Because if you think about it, everybody loved Austin Aries in NXT, and everybody loved the fact that Austin Aries was going to come to the main roster, and the reaction that he gets isn't all that there. It's they don't really care. It's the same thing with Neville. When Neville first came to the main roster, he was getting good reactions. He had that really good match with Chris Jericho where he unfortunately got injured. And he was doing all right on the main roster, but you put him in the Cruiserweight division, him and Aries have helped the division a little bit as far as giving them a little more legitimacy. But it's even those two guys who we've seen wrestle other guys that aren't cruiserweights, they're not even getting a good reaction. So you put Finn Balor down there. Yeah, he's Finn Balor. He's one of the most over guys on the roster. But it could kill him as well, putting him in the Cruiserweight division and stifling him, even if the plan for him would be to go back and forth between the divisions.
Yeah. The main concern I would have is, you mentioned, the UK guys only fighting, is you got 2 great talents in Austin Aries and Neville that are just basically stuck, in limbo.
Exactly.
And they can't really have, any, other matches. We could have, Austin Aries versus Seth Rollins, or
that'd be
maybe,
great.
Yeah, or maybe Austin Aries versus Samoa Joe.
I've seen that, and that's great.
Yeah.
I've seen that before. And the thing is now, if you go into Extreme Rules, if you say they put the title on Austin Aries, that's cool because, 1, Austin Aries is now the Cruiserweight champion, but 2, it lets them continue Austin Aries versus Neville because, of course, Neville's going to want his rematch. But eventually, you've got to end this feud. And what do? If Neville's the champion, okay, cool. You've got people he can be wrestling. But what do you do with Austin Aries? And vice versa. If Aries is the champion after all of this, who do you have Neville go up against? You don't really have feuds in that division other than Kendrick and Tozawa. And they slightly did Noam Dar, Cedric Alexander, Noam Dar, Rich Swann. Other than that, everybody else is just wrestling random guys. And what do you do with whoever doesn't come out of this the champion? You just have them wrestle random guys? Or is there somebody like Austin Aries and Tony Nese, or Austin Aries and Drew Gulak, or Neville and Drew Gulak because of his no-fly zone thing? You turn, and but for that you would have to turn babyface. So
I'm not sure like how would they get them out of this.
Right.
But at some point they would come back like on the main roster. I just don't know when it would be.
Right, and that's the same thing with Kalisto. It's like they can put him in the Cruiserweight division. They haven't, but it's like if they do, he may help the division a little, kind of like Aries and Neville have. But then people are just going to not care about him anymore, and it's not like they really care about him all that much on the main roster right now anyways.
Yeah. Like, this is also a concern for the UK guys.
Right.
But, like, since you brought up that Tyler Bate was, like, under 21, but now Pete Dunne is, like, he's over 21, so he could, come over to, like, SmackDown or Raw, And,
there wouldn't be no issues with him.
Yeah. But I'm not sure, if they're going to do that now or not.
Something I've actually heard was you have all these UK guys, and they do whatever they're going to do with them on this UK show once it gets rolling weekly, and then they transition from UK to NXT, and then maybe eventually from NXT to the main roster. But that's just way too long. If you got these guys, and if they get over on this UK show big enough, like Pete Dunne already has, like Tyler Bate already has, just throw them straight to the main roster. It's not like you have to go through NXT. And in all honesty, if you put these guys in NXT and you have them work at the Performance Center, it may make them a little worse than they are now.
Yeah, because it would probably tone them down a little bit.
Look at Hideo Itami. Hideo Itami was so much better in Japan. He came to WWE. He's been working at the Performance Center, and they got him in this mentality that he has to work a certain style now, and he's just not the same that he was when they first signed him.
Yeah, I can see that, and I'm also hoping they don't do that with Nakamura, but that really doesn't seem to be the case. I don't know what exactly happened in the match with Dolph. It was an alright match to me, though.
But at the same time, you would think, okay, the match will go 50-50. Dolph takes half the match, and Nakamura takes half the match. But in all honesty, it was like 80-20. Dolph had most of the offense, and then Nakamura just came in there, hit like 4 big moves, and won.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe it's the fact of, like I said yesterday, Nakamura's getting up there in age. Maybe he feels like, I'm in America, I don't have to work as hard to get these fans behind me because, one, I have this new cool song. One, I have the stigma of who I used to be. And it is true. It's easier to get over in the United States
but
than...
in all honesty, I could see that, like, eventually people would, sort of find that out and, like, just him not be as over. I wouldn't go as far as releasing him, is what the guy was talking about yesterday. I mean, he is a little bit older in age, so I could understand why he's taking it a bit slower. But, if he's just going to, like, tone it down for the sake of, like, the American fans just will pop for, like, lesser stuff because they're used to the WWE style.
Exactly.
So. All right. Well, thank you
for the call. Thanks for the call. Have a great night.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Let's see what you guys are talking about in the chat here. Robert Kelly says Jinder is something new. If it doesn't work, have him drop the belt at SummerSlam. Interesting thing about Jinder and that championship and Randy Orton. So I was listening to Brian Alvarez today on Wrestling Observer Radio, and Brian Alvarez said, when they made that six-pack challenge, the plan was to go with Jinder and for Jinder to win the title. But at the same time, Jinder was also supposed to only hold the title for 2 days and drop it the next SmackDown to Randy Orton. Whether that is still the plan or not, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what they do tomorrow on SmackDown. But according to Brian Alvarez on today's Wrestling Observer live show, at one point that was the plan for this whole Jinder Mahal, Randy Orton title change. Now with them wanting to push everything towards India, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But at the same time, they could have changed their mind, and they could be making an even bigger play for India now. So we'll have to see exactly what route they do go tomorrow night, because, they still got to do the rematch. Randy's guaranteed his rematch. Tyson, number one fan. Let me see. You're asking how to call in from another country. I've looked this up before. Let me double check before I give you the correct or false information. I'll see what else you guys are talking about here in the chat. Tyson, number one fan, where are you calling from? Are you calling from Europe? As if you are, you have to dial 00 before the number and then area code phone number. If you're calling from Canada, it's just put a 1, just like in the United States. Just put a 1, area code phone number. Let's see. Let me back it up here in the chat. Before we talk, I guess we can run down this Raw show real fast. I can do it quickly. I mean, it's a Raw review. I got to review Raw. But let's see what you guys are saying. Adam Fried says, I know the whole Tyson Kidd versus Neville on NXT would be awesome. It would be, because we've seen some good Tyson Kidd Neville stuff in NXT. Oh, here you're saying it was awesome in NXT. Okay. Yeah. It was good in NXT, so bring them up to bring that feud to the main roster if they were to ever, because I mean, if they're ever going to, would they put him in 205 Live? He'd fit. He'd be a good addition, Tyson Kidd, that is. But, yeah, I don't think they're ever going to clear him because of the neck situation. Unfortunately, everyone tries to blame that on Joe, but it's just an unfortunate circumstance. I mean, how many times has Joe hit the muscle buster and no one's gotten hurt? I mean, people have gotten hurt, what? I've only ever heard of Tyson Kidd. He's the only major injury off Samoa Joe's muscle buster. And I think there was one other in TNA where someone slightly got hurt and they were out for like 2 weeks. I can't remember who it was exactly, but yeah. No one's gotten injured off that move other than one time in TNA and the Tyson Kidd situation. I mean, it's like with anything. You can get hurt taking a DDT. Random DDT. You can get hurt walking. Remember Kevin Nash? Kevin Nash tore his quad just walking in the ring. I mean, Luke Harper injured himself throwing a punch and messed up his leg. Sami Zayn injured his shoulder doing his entrance, flailing his arms. So, I mean, yeah, it's just injuries are, most of the time, injuries happen when they're least expected and it's just like a nothing thing. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
No, yeah. Hey, what are the odds of Finn Balor winning the title from Brock? What do you think?
I can see them doing the match Finn Balor versus Brock, but I don't see Finn Balor getting the championship. Right now, the plan is to most likely have Brock Lesnar hold it all the way to WrestleMania, and I don't see him dropping it in his first defense. Whether he drops it to, say, like a Braun Strowman at SummerSlam or Hell in a Cell, maybe, but I don't see him dropping it to anybody at Great Balls of Fire.
Yes, yeah, I realize that, like, Taker's having hip surgery and shit, but wouldn't it be amazing if he returned and took the title from Brock for one last run?
I can see where you can do that, but didn't they finished up the whole Brock Lesnar Undertaker stuff? I mean, they had their little thing a couple years ago with the Hell in a Cell match and the SummerSlam match, and I can see that though. Like, it would make a little sense with their history and say, Undertaker's final time as champion, make him what would he be, 5-time world champion?
Yeah, 5 times.
So that would make some sense. If they were to do it, it wouldn't be just too out of left field. But at the same time, Undertaker's done. Last I heard, he has no interest in coming back and wrestling. But then again, he says that every year since WrestleMania 30. Actually, probably WrestleMania. Yeah. I think the first time he started saying he was done was after the Punk match. I think it was.
Yeah, like every match he was like, no, actually it was the Triple H match, I think. Hell in a Cell, he said he was
it might have been the end of the era. There you go.
Yeah, but Balor, I feel bad for him because you watched the documentary on the network, right?
Right.
That's just so sad that he popped his shoulder back into place just to get back in the ring, and then I feel like he should get the title back because he didn't lose it.
No, I understand fully, and one thing that had me thinking while watching that documentary is when he talked about...
Yeah, he deserves to have it back, in my opinion.
Right, but when he talked about, with the injury, when he talked about walking up the ramp with the title and the cameraman telling him, lift the title, he said, when I lifted that title over my head, I didn't want to, but I did it anyways. He said every inch that his arm went up, he felt and heard cracking. So my did him doing that worsen the injury? They didn't say anything about that, and we may never know. But with him making that reference to, I felt it and I heard every crack as my arm went up, did that make the injury worse? And was that maybe a reason why when they first did the MRI and the scans and everything, it didn't look bad, and then they got in there and saw how bad it really was? Maybe that did something, maybe it didn't, but it's just something that I was thinking.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Just I feel bad for him because he's such he doesn't deserve to lose that shot,
Right, and now with the whole thing being, Roman's gonna get the title at Mania, it's like he's got to wait 2 years probably before he can even get a shot at legitimately, being a contender, not just, you're gonna get a title shot, but everyone knows you're losing.
Right, yeah. Just thinking way ahead, but who do you think will take the belt off Roman?
Who would take the belt off of Roman? Honestly, I don't know, because you don't know who they're going to be pushing as a top. Because first, it all depends on, Roman will most likely still be a babyface. That's the plan right now. Keep Roman a babyface like John Cena. So who's the heels then? I mean, by the time Roman's champion, say it's this time next year, a month after WrestleMania, Roman's the champion. Maybe they had already turned to Finn Balor. Maybe Finn's a heel and he can do something that way. Maybe they go Samoa Joe as the heel. Maybe Finn or Bray Wyatt. It all depends on who's still on Raw next year this time. Who's a heel, who's being pushed as a top heel, and, what the actual plan is for Roman Reigns. I mean, Roman held the title, 3-4 months after winning it at WrestleMania 32. I mean, yeah, he had to drop it because he got suspended, but I think you can't really look too far ahead. If it was maybe 6 months ahead, it'd be easier to predict, but with it being a year out, it's kind of hard because, honestly, you don't know who's still going to be around as far as not injured, who's going to be on what brand. They might do another draft, another superstar shakeup.
Yeah, wouldn't it be cool if, actually, do you think it's gonna, will Mahal drop the belt to Rusev or back to Orton? What do you think?
I mean, the original plan that I heard about today was that Randy Orton's gonna get that title back in less than a week.
Oh, no.
Because apparently the original plan was Jinder gets the title at Backlash. That next SmackDown loses it.
Yeah.
But that was the plan 3 weeks.
Personally, I think Rusev should be babyface. Jinder could get over as a heel, then Rusev could come back and be like the babyface in the feud and then take it off him.
They could do that. They can do that because I think, like I said, that plan of him losing it 2 days later, that was the plan 3 weeks ago. So who knows if they've changed their mind.
Right, yeah. Then, say Taker were to come back, who do you think he would feud with?
John Cena. because that's the big match that Vince
Oh,
has
yeah,
wanted.
yeah.
That's the match Vince has wanted. Just circumstances have never let it happen.
Right. And for CM Punk, can you imagine how loud the crowd would pop if CM Punk returned?
Oh, that would be one of the biggest pops of all time. That would be bigger than when Dolph cashed in Money in the Bank.
You know what would be sick? What if Taker's gong hit and then CM Punk came out?
No, they wouldn't do something like that.
They wouldn't, but that would be amazing.
But it wouldn't make no sense because it's not like he's doing it to bait a match with, like to start a feud with The Undertaker. That's the only way that would make sense.
Yeah, true. Maybe with like somebody else. He was gonna feud with, like maybe if like he was gonna feud with like Randy Orton, maybe Song can do something. I don't know, like somebody that wears like a hood to like take the hood off or something.
Right, but I honestly, I don't see CM Punk coming back, at least not for the next 4 or 5 years, because like I've said before, he's said multiple times he would call himself a failure if he ever went back to working with WWE. Plus, I'm pretty sure Triple H doesn't want him back because he pretty much told Triple H that Triple H is a nothing. Because if you don't know, originally the WrestleMania 30 match was supposed to be CM Punk versus Triple H, and CM Punk literally told Triple H to his face, "Why should I face you at Mania? What would that do for me? What would that match really accomplish? It would mean nothing to everybody." And from then on, I've heard since then, Triple H has always thought that CM Punk was just full of himself and didn't need to be around. Like Triple H wanted him gone after that.
Yeah, he is kind of ungrateful because he had that match with Taker, and he's like, really, that was the main event, but like that was a really good match, but he seemed like really ungrateful for that. But that was like a main storyline.
I get that, but at the same time, he has a right to be he had the right to be a little upset because he went and he faced Undertaker at WrestleMania, lost. Faced Brock Lesnar, lost. Faced Triple H, lost. They kept putting him against all these part-timers just to lose. That last year he was there.
Yeah.
So I can see why he would have been a little bitter about it. Like, oh, we're going to go to WrestleMania. Who's going to go over? You again?
Yeah.
So I can see the
what the fuck happened that one time when Bray Wyatt attacked Finn Balor and then they just like scrapped that whole storyline? Like that should be a thing.
They had to change things when Braun Strowman went out with an injury. They were going to do, at Extreme Rules, they were going to do Bray versus Balor, but when Braun went down with an injury, they had to figure out something else, so they made the Fatal 5-Way.
That makes sense. Okay,
so, I mean, depending on who's facing Brock at SummerSlam, if it's not Finn Balor or Bray Wyatt, they can always do that match at SummerSlam.
Yeah, that'd be really good. Like Demon Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt, that'd be cool.
Oh, that would be great. And
now the heart seemed really broken tonight.
Matt teases it every week. He did talk more with the accent a little more than normal tonight, and he did the laugh. But, I mean, he can tease it all he wants, but he can't be broken, like, fully until they get the gimmick, if they ever actually do. Well, yeah, he can... I mean, they can't say anything for him laughing. They can't do anything about that. It's just laughing. Yeah,
last thing. In the Styles Owen match at Backlash...
Right.
Alan Styles, Alan for a Styles clash, but then like he teased like a pile driver on the apron. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, that was a good spot. And then they did the whole the suplex on the apron.
Yeah,
it wasn't even the apron. What? It wasn't even the apron. Owens actually hit the edge of the ring, which is even harder than hitting the actual apron part itself.
Yeah, they botched that, I think. But like, I was like, "There's no way it's gonna pile driver."
No, pile drivers aren't only person allowed to do. You're only allowed to do a pile driver if it's an Undertaker match.
Yeah, the Tombstone.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the call, bro.
All right. Thanks for the call. Have a great night. All right. So let's see. What are you guys saying here in the chat? Tyson #1 fan says, why is WWE wasting Anderson and Gallows? Put them with Finn. Exactly. I've been saying that since Finn came back. Make him a heel. Balor Club. Bada boom. You're going to make a lot of money off that merch. Robert Cathy. Finn needs to partner up with Gallows and Anderson. And they really could have teased that tonight, and they didn't. They didn't do anything of the sort. They just had a match. Adam Fry says Cena does not need another title. Adam Fry, make them mean something. Oh, the brands, okay. Lennox Pie says, what happened to Braun Strowman? Braun Strowman's injured. Braun Strowman had an injured elbow. They thought, okay, he's got an injured elbow. We found this out. He'll be gone for like 8 weeks, 2 months. Come back. Work Great Balls of Fire. Everything's good. Then Braun Strowman came back to the United States. Their doctors checked him out, and they said, no. This man can be out of action for up to 8 or 6 months. Braun Strowman had surgery. They said the elbow was completely shattered. There is a slight chance he can make it back in time for SummerSlam, but that's cutting it close. So we'll have to see exactly what goes on with that. But yeah, he did get the surgery. They said it was a completely shattered elbow. Out up to 6 months, hoping that he's back for SummerSlam. DeAndre Duke says, who do you think will win Money in the Bank? I mean, I've been saying Baron Corbin, but with Baron Corbin losing to Sami Zayn at Backlash, could be Sami Zayn. Could be Rusev if they put Rusev in that match. I've been hearing that name going around since last week. Ty Dillinger should be in the match. I don't see him winning the match, though. I mean, do they put Nakamura in there and give it to Nakamura? I honestly wouldn't expect that. Let's see. Adam Fry says JBL is only relevant as the asshole he is. That's funny. All right, let's take this call right here before we run down Raw real fast. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Yeah, it's me again. I just had one last question.
Sure.
So, Rowan's been wearing that a clown mask. That has to have something to do with Casey Steve, right?
No, I don't think so. He only had the clown mask on Talking Smack last week.
Yeah. I think they're gonna start making him wear it on SmackDown.
Right. He didn't have it at Backlash, and Crazy Steve's supposed to come into NXT. Hello? Oh, lost the call. I don't know what happened there. There's dead air. He tried to come talk again and lost it. But let's run down Raw real fast. All right. Jeremiah Marinick says, Nakamura should go after the U.S. tag titles. Alfred Pont says WWE needs 6-man titles like ROH. No, they don't, because WWE does not know how to use titles correctly anyways. Too many titles means, too many convoluted things, too many watered down stories. I think number of titles they got right now, perfect. Two male titles, one set of tag titles, 2 male titles on each brand, a set of tag titles, a set of women's titles on each brand, and then a cruiserweight title. You don't need no more than what they already got. That's for sure. I mean, and like I got this question last week. Who would you put in a 6-man? Who would you put in the running for these 6-man titles? There's really nobody other than the New Day. Maybe Balor Club if you put them together. But Raw. So Raw started out, Bray Wyatt came out, said this is his world, Roman says that it's his yard, and you got Finn Balor, and you've got Samoa Joe, Seth Rollins, all in this Fatal 5-Way and this and that, but nobody can defeat the Beast. Nobody can slay the Beast other than himself, Bray Wyatt. Roman Reigns then came down to his usual television reaction. Reigns said if Wyatt wants to run his mouth in his yard, Wyatt should do it to his face. Wyatt says he sees that nothing has changed, that Reigns lets his temper get the best of him. Wyatt says he is the only one that can beat Brock Lesnar, that can slay the Beast. Reigns said that wasn't going to happen because he was going to beat 4 guys at Extreme Rules and then go on to beat Brock Lesnar. Reigns said that the only thing he was worried about tonight was how he was going to get Wyatt's ass out of his yard. Kurt Angle then came down and said, right now we're having a match, Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt. Quick 4 or 5 minute match. Was going all right until Samoa Joe came down, ended in a DQ. Samoa Joe looked at Bray Wyatt, and, most are probably thinking, well, he's going to attack Bray because Bray hit him with his Sister Abigail last week, and it didn't happen. He put the Coquina Clutch. He put that Coquina Clutch on Roman Reigns. Backstage, Reigns asked Rollins why he didn't come out to save him. Rollins said that he didn't do that for Reigns. He did it to, or he asked why he came out to save him. Because, Rollins did come out and make the save briefly, but it was just a whatever thing. Fans started chanting for the Shield. He said, why'd you come out to save me? He said, I did that to get a piece of Joe. Angle then said, you know what? Never mind. Tonight, main event, Rollins Reigns, you're taking on Joe Wyatt. The Drifter was in there. And Kurt goes, you've been trying to get my attention. And you haven't had a match yet. So tonight, you will have your first match against Dean Ambrose. We then had a Brian Kendrick interview backstage saying that he was the teacher, Tozawa was the student, and that he would learn his lesson tomorrow night on 205 Live, as the two are going to have a street fight. They cut away from Kendrick to show Tozawa versus REI Daivari, literally a 2-minute match. Tozawa pinned Daivari with a senton bomb. Kendrick faces, like I said, Tozawa tomorrow in a street fight. Kendrick vowed to destroy him. Charlie Caruso then approached Sasha Banks backstage. Alicia Fox, Noam Dar walked up. Banks said that she and Fox are wrestling yet again tonight. Fox and Dar laughed at Banks for being single. Dar threatened to tell Banks what she is. Banks dared her to, and then Dar backed down. We then had Elias Sampson versus Dean Ambrose, about 9-10 minute match. Miz and Maurice were on commentary. Sampson worked over Ambrose's left arm for a while until Ambrose started to make a comeback with the Hangman neckbreaker. Ambrose ripped off the top rope, but Sampson met him with a high knee to the jaw. Sampson covered for the 2 count, but Ambrose turned it into a crucifix for another 2 count of his own. Ambrose hit a rebound clothesline. Miz then ran in, teasing, jumping Ambrose, and then gave Sampson the double axe handle, which actually gave Sampson the victory, disqualifying Dean Ambrose. And this fits perfectly into the story, because if Dean Ambrose gets disqualified at Extreme Rules, he loses his title. We then had a segment backstage where Big Cass was running through the hall with a referee, screaming for Enzo, and then we see Enzo just laying there, knocked out. Don't know what's going on. Enzo's yelling at the referees, what happened? Why is Enzo, referee's like, don't touch him. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what happened. And that was it. We didn't learn anything else about what happened. Angle and Cass watched as Enzo was put into a ambulance. They took him away. Cass told Angle that Angle better find out who did this before he does. And we never found out anything. I think a lot of people online were saying it was Cass. I thought maybe it could have been Apollo Crews, Titus O'Neil, because of the stuff that happened last week, but obviously that probably wasn't it. And a lot of people also think it could be the Revival for their return. Balor then came out, did an in-ring promo. It was all right. It was funny. He went to say Fatal 5-Way and said Fightal 5-Way, and he goes, during the Fightal 5-Way, and then he goes, oops, Fatal 5-Way. Pretty funny. Paul Heyman came out, interrupted Balor, tried to hype up Finn Balor, saying that him and Brock, they believe in him, saying that Lesnar would make Rollins a freaking victim. Lesnar would make Joe a victim. Then came Reigns, the one who laid down the dead man. Heyman said if Reigns wins the 5-Way, he would no longer be the end-all be-all in WWE. He would just be another victim, which led Heyman to say to Balor. Heyman got in the ring at this point and said Balor was nobody's victim, though, which led Heyman. He knows the other contenders have painted Balor as the underdog. And this is where I'm thinking the whole thing of they want Balor to win. Brock wants Balor because he thinks that Balor would be the easiest opponent. Heyman said that they may not see Balor coming, but he sees Balor coming, and the Balor Club also sees it as well. Heyman said that he believes in Balor, most of all because he's a talented in-ring performer and one of, if not the most talented in-ring performer in WWE today. Got a pretty good reaction from the crowd. Heyman believes that Balor believes in himself and says that he can be a great contender and he can get Extreme because Paul knows about Extreme. And then they started chanting ECW. We then had Finn Balor versus Carl Anderson. Match started during the commercial. Heyman's promo putting over Balor helped with the match because the crowd was very into Finn Balor. I mean, they probably would have been anyways, but I think with Paul Heyman endorsing Finn Balor, the crowd was behind him even more. Announcers played up the past with Gallows, Anderson, Balor, but that was really it, and they didn't do anything in the match to play it up. Balor tried the coup de grace at one point, but Anderson got up and hit a spinebuster for 2. Balor escaped a powerbomb, got a double leg takedown, and did a double stomp. Balor flew over the top rope for a somersault tope onto Anderson and Gallows, hit the sling blade on Anderson, double knee, did the drop kick to the corner, hit the coup de grace, pinned him in about 7 minutes. We then had Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox, 2-3 minute match. Banks got the win with the double knees in the corner. Fox was bridged across the middle ropes. After the match, Noam Dar came in, got in Banks' face. They got a little crazy. Banks decked Dar, slapped him pretty damn hard. Fox hit Banks from behind, gave her the axe kick. Fox and Dar kissed over Banks, and yeah, they're going to continue this feud. The whole thing is Sasha Banks, she's got a man. Or no, Alicia Fox. Oh, excuse me. The whole thing with this is now it's being built around Alicia's got a man. Sasha doesn't have a man. So what do they really do with this? Sasha's husband, he's just a seamstress for the WWE as far as his involvement with the company, you know, Macave. And it's not like they got anybody else that they can pair her with as far as like boyfriend material. They can just give her somebody. I mean, in all honesty, what are they going to do? Put her with Rich Swann just to take on Noam Dar and Alicia Fox? Yes, Cedric Alexander is supposed to be returning tomorrow on 205 Live, so maybe they go that route. They continue the Cedric Alexander, Noam Dar, Alicia Fox, add Sasha Banks into that. Then maybe we see Sasha Banks on 205 Live. But I don't know if that'd be a good idea. It's something, though. It's something. It's something that may get people excited to see 205 Live, because if you can put Sasha Banks on 205 Live for a couple weeks, may build some interest in that show. So maybe that's something they can go with. Maybe it is something they can do. Apollo Crews then talked with Kalisto backstage. Kalisto asked Crews why Crews was fighting these battles with Titus O'Neil. Kalisto asked Crews if he's the one that attacked Enzo. Apollo denied it, but then defended O'Neil, saying he needed to keep his options open. O'Neil walked up and said Kalisto was trying to be the first international member of the Titus brand. Kalisto said he wanted nothing to do with the Titus brand, and then this set up a match for later on in the night. We then got a pretty good vignette from Goldust, talking about, gold is the purest of them all. I never trust rust. But R-Truth's lights are flickering and fading. At the same point, someone tried to hand Goldust a script, but he threw it down, saying he didn't need one. He's back in the director's chair, and he controls how and when the film will end. He said the golden age is back once again. It was a great old-school Goldust promo, and I loved it. I thought it was something different than we've seen recently. But, yeah, I really liked this Goldust promo. And if we can get the old-school heel Goldust back, man, that could be great. Bliss did an interview with Charlie Caruso. They showed Bayley's back last week with the kendo stick shot. She said the sound of the bamboo stick hitting Bayley's back makes her salivate. She said she will make Bayley's back even more tattooed. Bliss said Bayley isn't capable of being extreme, but it's in her DNA. She's going to take Bayley's dreams away and turn them into nightmares. And then said that she's taking on Mickie James later on in the night. And we didn't see Bayley at all in the show. So yeah. Oh no, we did. Never mind. At the end of the Alexa Bliss Mickie James match, my bad. I don't know why I forgot about that. I mean, the whole show was forgettable. So we then had the Kalisto defeated Apollo Crews in 3 minutes. Selena Del Sol out of nowhere. Boom. Matt Hardy took on Sheamus. All right match. Sheamus was a little better than he has been the last couple weeks. Matt Hardy did win this match. And then at the end, they got to announce what the actual stipulation would be for Extreme Rules, because the match was if Matt wins, he picks the stipulation. If Sheamus wins, he picks the stipulation. And Matt Hardy, in broken gimmick-ish, gotta say ish, announced that it will be a steel cage match at Extreme Rules. Let's take this phone call here before we continue with this Raw review. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Do you think that John Cena go for the U.S. title again, or the Universal?
He won't go for the Universal because he's a SmackDown guy. Going for the U.S. title, maybe, because there's the history of when he was U.S. champion, Kevin Owens attacked him and challenged him. So there is the history there, so maybe do that at SummerSlam. Cena is supposed to return July 4th to the SmackDown brand. So I could see that happening. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility, especially with the history as far as when Kevin Owens was NXT champion, he came to the main roster and challenged John Cena for that championship. So it could just be, Cena goes, you challenged me when I was champion, so now I'm going to challenge you when you're the champion.
But can it be a triple threat match with Nakamura in it, involved in it?
If you're going to do anything with John Cena, I don't think so, because it wouldn't make any sense. If you're going to go that route as far as John Cena challenging Kevin Owens for the United States Championship, it wouldn't make sense to do a triple threat at all, especially with Nakamura, because there's nothing there between Nakamura, John Cena. Now, maybe if it was AJ Styles, you have the John Cena, AJ Styles history, the dynamic there. So if you're still doing AJ Owens at that point, and then Cena comes in saying that he wants in, that could make sense, but it wouldn't make sense with Nakamura and John Cena.
But what happens, if AJ Styles asks for a rematch, because what happened at Backlash?
Then he gets a rematch. I mean, I think that's the route they're going to go. I think they're going to continue AJ Styles and Kevin Owens. But you also got to think, you're asking about John Cena. That's July 4th. That's a month or so away. SummerSlam's not for 3 more months. If that were, say, something they want to do at SummerSlam. So, I mean, there's 2 more pay-per-views they can still do Owens-AJ. Before SummerSlam, that is.
Because I thought that AJ will win that Backlash because, how he was ready for Kevin Owens.
Right. But no, I think the way they did it was the perfect way as far as to keep the feud going. If AJ would have won, yeah, they could have kept it going because Owens would have got his, he needed his rematch. But I think doing it the way they did, I liked the finish as far as the weight. I didn't like that it was a DQ finish, but I liked, if they were going to do a DQ, which they did, it was a clever DQ.
But at Extreme Rules, do you think that the Hardy Boys will lose the title against Cesaro and Sheamus?
There's a slight chance, but I honestly think the Hardys will retain, especially if they haven't got the Broken Hardy gimmick yet. And after today, it looks like they haven't, and that's only 2 weeks away. So I see the Hardys possibly keeping them titles for a little bit longer.
Okay.
I can really see the Hardys. I can really see the Hardys holding them till, say, SummerSlam, and then losing them then on, a big stage.
But, what happened against, The Miz and Dean Ambrose about the disqualification thing?
What do you mean, in the match tonight with Samson?
Yeah.
Well, that plays up into their match at Extreme Rules. Their match at Extreme Rules for the Intercontinental Championship is, if Dean Ambrose gets disqualified, he can and will still lose his championship. So that's why they did the whole thing where Miz got Dean Ambrose disqualified tonight, to show him, hey, this can happen in Extreme Rules, and if you get disqualified then, I get your title.
But Didn't the Miz try to hit Dean Ambrose right there?
Right, but it was a tease. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you," and then he went hit Samson. Well, like I said, to show Dean that if you get disqualified like you just did now at Extreme Rules, I get your title. So he teased going after Dean, but he knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all I have.
All right. Thank you for the call. Have a great night.
You too.
All right. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Jeremiah Merrick says he did a double axe handle off the table. That's so crazy. That's an awesome. That's awesome. That's an Ambrose commentary. Tiago Gauvia. What was that Balor Heyman? Could we see Balor as a Heyman guy? I don't think so. Especially if Balor's going to be a baby face. If he's going to be a Paul Heyman guy, he's got to be a heel. And if he's going to be a heel, then you put him with Gallows and Anderson. You don't put him with Paul Heyman. He doesn't need a Paul Heyman to talk for him. Now, yeah, you can say, well, Punk didn't need a Paul Heyman to talk for him. But Punk and Heyman, their dynamic was more friends, not I'm your manager or your advocate, like it has been with Brock and like it was with Curtis Axel. And I don't know if they would do that same dynamic, the friend dynamic with Balor and Paul Heyman. So I don't see it happening. Jeremiah says Ambrose is more of a quirky, eccentric bro than some lunatic fringe. He needs to go heel and get violent to actually be something special. That's true. I mean, I don't know what more you can do with Dean Ambrose as a babyface. I know I've been saying they're not going to turn him anytime soon, but the more I see Dean Ambrose on TV, the less interested I am of him, and I'm not really that interested in Dean Ambrose anyways. Really haven't ever been that interested in Dean Ambrose. So maybe they can turn him heel and try something different to get me interested with him. But as of right now, I'm just not interested with Dean Ambrose. Adam Fried says, Tamina is the final form of Nia Jax. Wow. Jeremiah says, Tamina is Nia Jax light character-wise. What the? Man. Broken Trey Boyd says, Nakamura versus Styles, U.S. title match. Maybe. Hey, AJ can get that title down the road. Then you go to SummerSlam, make Nakamura the number one contender. Boom. SummerSlam weekend, you get Nakamura versus AJ Styles. That match is going to be great as long. Now, here's the thing. In Japan, Wrestle Kingdom 2016, match was amazing. But ever since coming to the States, Nakamura hasn't wrestled the same. So if he's facing somebody like AJ that he's familiar with, will he wrestle differently? Will he pull out the old Japan Nakamura if he's facing somebody like a AJ Styles or Kevin Owens? Because the two had a great match in Ring of Honor right before Kevin Owens left for WWE. So if he's facing somebody that he's familiar with-ish, like a Nakamura or like a Kevin Owens, or someone he's really familiar with, like a AJ Styles, then maybe I can see him pulling out a little more of that old Japan Nakamura. Let's see. Jeremiah says, I swear this was Heyman scouting Balor to be a Heyman guy. I mean, you can see that, but like I said, I think it was more of they think that Balor's the small guy in the match. They think he'd be the easier opponent for Brock, so you get his confidence up, so that way he has a better shot of winning as far as he's more confident than the other guys. So I could see that, and also it's probably a tease that that's the match they're going to do. Yeah, so where were we? The cage match. They announced a cage match for the tag team titles at Extreme Rules. We then learned that the match at Extreme Rules between Austin Aries and Neville for the Cruiserweight Championship will be a submission match We then had a 4 or 5 minute match with Austin Aries and Tony Nese. Austin Aries ended up winning with the last chancery. And then Neville was at ringside. Austin Aries got out of the ring. Neville got in the ring, attacked Tony Nese, and put him in the rings of Saturn just to show, I got a finisher too, buddy. I got a finisher too. Lennox is asking when is Paige returning. Honestly, I don't know. Probably, in my opinion, since they got that movie coming out, that's the only reason she hasn't been fired yet, probably. I think they're going to bring her back closer to the time the movie's ready to go out, be released or whatever, and use her to promote the movie for a little while and then see what they do with her from there. But yeah, I think she probably won't come back till the movie. And I don't even know if she's been cleared yet. I know she was supposed to get cleared sometime in the summer, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. Lanafee, I'm going to Raw next week in South Carolina. Not hyped about the show so far, but it's 10 times better live. That's very true. Like when I went to SmackDown, it's almost a month ago now. When I went to SmackDown, show was way better live than it comes off on TV. And you wouldn't realize this by watching the show live, but like Nakamura was not the most over guy on that show that I went to. It was Randy Orton, which is crazy. But yeah, the crowd, it feels way better live. If you've never been to a taped show live, it'll be a really cool experience. We then had, after the whole Cruiserweight thing, like I said, they announced that it's going to be a submission match. They both put Tony Nese in their submissions, and then we had Mickie James versus Alexa Bliss. James had the upper hand for most of the match and was then knocked out of the ring about 10 minutes in. Almost a 15-minute match, I think. Joe... Oh, wrong... I just looking at the wrong notes here. I was looking at the whole wrong thing. James had the upper hand most of the way until Bliss simply caught her with a right hand and landed the DDT and then got the win. 3-minute match. Okay, I was looking at the wrong notes. My bad. 3-minute match. After the match, Bliss pulled out a kendo stick and nailed James with a shot across the shoulders. Bayley then ran out. The only time we saw Bayley on the show. Grabbed the stick and teased hitting Bliss with it, who begged off and eventually rolled out of the ring. The storyline is that Bayley can't get Extreme, and does she have a ruthless side of her that we could see at Extreme Rules? Or is she just this fun-loving hugger that nobody can take serious as far as being extreme, brutal, unkind, That's the story of this, I guess. Cool. Adam Fried, man, Alberto is a drunk. Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, okay. Alberto Del Rio will probably never come back to WWE. He's been crapping on them ever since he left. We then had the main event, which was just a tag match. Reigns got the heat early, and then he was knocked out of the ring. Joe tried to throw Reigns into the post, but Reigns reversed it. Rollins got the hot tag and ran wild. He gave Joe the sling blade, and then Wyatt a pescado. Rollins threw Joe out of the ring and hit Joe and Wyatt with a tope. Wyatt tripped Rollins on the top rope. Joe and Wyatt went for a double superplex, but Rollins fought them off and wiped them both out with a double crossbody. Rollins teased his new Rainmaker knee finisher, but Wyatt turned the tables on him and tried his sister Abigail. Reigns intercepted and tossed Wyatt out of the ring. Reigns went for a Superman punch on Joe, who moved out of the way. Reigns collided with Rollins. This then led to Rollins screaming at Roman Reigns, who was pulled out of the ring by Bray Wyatt on the floor. Wyatt gave Reigns the sister Abigail. In the middle of the ring, Joe then put Rollins in the Kikina clutch and made him pass out because Rollins wouldn't tap. After the match, we saw Kurt Angle watching backstage. Balor walked up and said, "I'm not leaving without a match next week. I want one of these guys." And Kurt said, "No, you're not going to face one of these guys. You're going to face two of these guys." And set up that next week it will be Joe, Balor, and Wyatt in a triple threat match. And it was funny because Angle didn't call him Balor. He said it more like Baylor, like the Baylor University in Texas. It's pretty funny. And then he also said that we will be getting Reigns versus... Wait. Did I... Okay, yeah. We will be getting Reigns versus Rollins next week. So, going to be an interesting week next week. This week's show was horrible show. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I mean, if you want to know what happened, we talked about it just now. If you haven't seen the show, or you know somebody that hasn't seen the show and they want to know what happened, tell them to go read the spoilers online. Watch the WWE YouTube channel, because that's all you need to do to know what happened on Raw tonight. Oh, man. Raw was so bad tonight. I don't even know what else to say. But, yeah, that's going to do it for this episode, this live stream, this Raw review. I want to say thank you to everybody who was here, callers, listeners, in the chat live, watching back on replay. And we'll be live again tomorrow for SmackDown. Hopefully SmackDown Live is a better show, which it usually is. The dynamic tomorrow will be, what do they do with Jinder Mahal? Jinder Mahal, your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Do they go with that original plan? Does Jinder Mahal drop the title to Randy Orton tomorrow? Or does something happen and he keeps the title? Also, will Rusev finally show up tomorrow on SmackDown? We can only hope. And when's Lana coming? Because we want to see us some Lana. But that's going to do it, guys, for this edition of Pro Wrestling Unlimited Live right here on YouTube. Thanks, guys. Like I said, we'll be live again tomorrow for SmackDown. Same time, same place.